replacing the main shift rod because the reverse lockout tab is broken, and that makes it really difficult to get into reverse first and even second. At least it did for me. It's a pretty common issue on Mark 1s. I guess there's some fixes that involve drilling out the end of the shift rod and beating a little piece of brass into an L shape and then bolting that piece of brass to the shift rod. But I didn't want to do that. You can still find these shift rods brand new, so I just went ahead with a new replacement. This is directly under the gear shifter. And from here, the shift rod's pretty much free. It's all about just pulling it out of that bushing. Don't let the editing fool you. This actually took me about 40 minutes. Just gotta wrestle with this shift rod, twist it, bend the exhaust heat shield out of the way. Just keep wrestling with it until you find a good angle to slip it out of that bushing. Rubber boot fits a little tight around the shift rod, so just hit it with some WD-40. Massage it a little bit, it should slide right out. And here's the new shift rod. Fresh. So here's the old one. You can see where the tab's broken off. And that's what it's supposed to look like. The new one goes in the same way the old one came out. I did put a little bit of white lithium grease on the shift rod to help pass through that rubber boot. Alright, this part's kind of a pain. You just got to stick your hand in there and get the shifter to line up and drop into that bracket at the end of the shift rod. It takes a little bit of time, but it can be done. Glue Loctite on the threads, some white lithium grease on the pivot bolt. This took me quite a bit, so good luck getting that in first try. I found that getting it started with a wrench helped get it through the bracket. And once you get thread poking out the other side, then you can go ahead and throw that little 11 mil nut on the end of it. Bentley manual calls for 15 foot-pounds, but there's no way I could fit a torque wrench in there, so I just snugged it up enough to where it wasn't binding and where it also was not loose. For the next part, you want to get in the car and make sure the shifter is centered in the gates between third and fourth gear. Now the Bentley manual calls for some specific measurements at the bottom of the car. You want to make sure that stop finger is centered lengthwise in the middle of that shifter bracket. You want to make sure the finger is about 15 mil from the edge of that shifter bracket. So a trick I like to use is jam a 10 mil socket in there. That kind of keeps it in place at the right distance. And then you can kind of twist the shift rod in that bracket by working it with your hand at either end to get the distance right. Throw that 13 mil bolt in there. Tighten the 13 mil nut to 15 foot-pounds. Here's another angle from the bottom. After I torque it down, I like to put a little dab of paint on there for a reference mark if I ever have to adjust it. White lithium grease on that shifter housing helps that stop finger slide up and down it nice and easy. Try it out. All the gears should engage nice and smooth. Another angle from the top. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Back down 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse. Ah, smooth. It's time to get this car back on the ground and take it for a drive.